All right, boys and girls, we are going to be working through two-story problems. Again, we are still focusing on doing the area model or using that multiplication sentence to help us out. So we're going to do two of them. Problem 3 will be with me, so with Mrs. Becker, and problem 4 is going to be on your own. And then you will take a picture of those two-story problems. Story problem number 5, I am not going to have you do. You can cross that one out. So let's go ahead and look at story problem number 3. It says, Philip's family traveled 3/10 of the distance to grandmother's house on Saturday. They traveled 4/7 of the remaining distance on Sunday. What fraction of the total distance to his grandmother's house was traveled on Sunday? Okay, so we have a lot going on there. There's 2 days. There's a Saturday distance that they traveled, and then there's a Sunday distance that they traveled. So I know that the total distance that they're traveling has to do with this 3/10 of the trip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw myself a little tape diagram to just help me with this. So please draw that little tape diagram right here. And then I know that this tape diagram, if I look at it, I know that the total amount of traveling that they did has to total tenths. So I'm going to just go ahead and make my little bracket, and I know that I'm going to partition this into tenths. So I'll go ahead and do that. To make tenths, I'm going to do 9 little marks, kind of evenly spaced. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So go ahead and make that tape diagram. And I know that on Saturday, they are going to travel 3/10 of that distance. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of, this is 1/10, this is another tenth, and this is another tenth. So these 3 together, this was the amount that they traveled on Saturday. So this is already done. I'm just going to kind of shade that. Now, how much of the trip is still left? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm really working with 7/10 of the trip that is left. And now I'm going to go back in and see exactly what they're asking me. I know that this is used up already. I know that I have to do something with this leftover to fill the rest of that trip. So now it's saying that on they traveled 4/7 of the remaining distance on Sunday. What fraction of the total distance to grandmother's house was traveled on Sunday? So of the 7/10 that are left, 4/7 of that was traveled. So I'm trying to figure out what is 4/7 of the remaining 7/10 that are left. Okay, so I know that I've got 4/7 is what they traveled on Sunday. What fraction of the distance to his grandmother's house was traveled on that day? All right, so 4/7 of the 7/10 that's left over, I'm going to go ahead and just multiply to figure out my answer. So when I see the word of, I can just cross that out. I can multiply going across. 4 times 7, that's 28. 7 times 10, that's 70. Now, these are really big numbers. If I wanted to, I could reduce these and make them a little bit smaller, but for our purposes, how we did this is A-OK just fine. So 28/70ths of the total distance was traveled on Sunday. So I'm just going to put this in an answer form. So 28/70ths of the distance on Sunday. And then they traveled that much. Okay, so making this tape diagram was a huge piece of getting this problem correct, because the only spot I didn't multiply 3/10 and 4/7, I multiplied the remaining piece. That's what it was asking me for. So some of the story problems, if you draw that tape diagram to kind of help you make sense of it, sometimes that can really help. Okay, problem number 4, you are going to do this one on your own. So Santiago bought a 3/4 pound bag of chocolate chips, and he's using 2/3 of the bag while baking. How many pounds of chocolate chips did he use while baking? So I'm trying to figure out, this is what he used. So 2/3 is what he used. And that is of the whole pound bag that's there. So what would 2/3 of 3/4 be? You can go ahead and solve that problem. And then you are going to take a picture of this in Seesaw. Okay, great job today, boys and girls. Be sure that you take that picture. Nice job.